Hello guys, welcome back. In today's episode we are going to learn about pop-up menus in Android. So we already learned about how to working with the context menus. But the pop-up menu is not similar to a context menu because the context menu is based on some view components. But the pop-up menu is not based on any view component. So here in this episode I am going to create a simple Android application that contain a pop-up menu. Also, the pop-up menu is similar to a spinner view in Android. Also, the pop-up menu is available from Android version 3.0 and above. That means you have to set the project minimum SDK API level into 11. Okay, so start a new project in Android Studio with the minimum SDK version as 3.0. So for creating a pop-up menu, remove this text view. So here I am going to add a button into this layout. Go to the XML version, change the text of the button into login. Okay, suppose this application has two type of user, an administrator and a normal user. So here I use a single button for the administrator and a normal user login. So before going to display the login activity, we have to make sure that the user is an administrator or a normal user. So here I am going to attach a pop-up menu into this button to check whether the user is an administrator or a normal user. So before going to attach the pop-up menus, first here we have to create some menu items. So create a new menu resource file and I name it as pop-up actions. Click OK. Now we have to add some items. First provide an ID for this item using Android ID attribute. I name it as ID admin. Now we have to provide some title for this item using title attribute. I name it as login as admin. Okay, now add one more item. Change the ID into ID user. Also change the title into login as user. Okay, now we have two menu items. First one is login as administrator and second one is login as a user. So now go back to the activity main.xml file. So here we add the login button. We have to add some on-click method for this button. So here I am going to add an on-click method. I name it as show popup. Now go to main activity. We have to define that method here. So public void show popup. Okay, don't forget to add the view argument here. So whenever user click the button, we have to show a pop-up menu that need to have two items. First one is login as administrator and second one is login as a normal user. So here I am going to create a pop-up menu. So we have to create an object of pop-up menu equal to new pop-up menu. So this constructor need two arguments. First one is the context object and second one is the anchor view object. So here the anchor view object is the button. So here I pass the context object as this. Now we have to pass the anchor view object. Here the view argument is the anchor view object, that means the button object. So pass the view argument. Okay, now we have to inflate the menu XML file. So we need an object of menu inflator. So create an object of menu inflator equal to popup menu dot get menu inflator. Okay, now we have to inflate the pop-up menu. So use the menu inflator object dot inflate. First you have to specify the menu XML resource. So r dot menu, the menu XML file name is popup actions. Now you have to pass a pop-up menu object. So here there is no argument that contain a pop-up menu object, so we have to call the get menu method. So pop-up menu dot get menu. Okay, and finally we have to show the pop-up menu, so you have to call the show method. Okay, so when user press the button, login button, that will show up a pop-up menu that contain two options. We can check it out. Now I am going to run the application. Okay, now the application is available on the virtual device. Now I just click the login button. Now this will show up a pop-up menu that contain two options, login as administrator and login as user. So now we have to learn about how to handle the click events of the options menu. So for handle the click events, you need to implement the on menu item click listener interface. So for handling the click events, here I am going to create a separate Java class. So create a new Java class. I name it as pop-up menu event handle. Pop-up menu event handle and click OK. Now here I am going to implement that particular interface called on menu item click listener. So pop-up menu dot on menu item click listener, and here you need to override some method, implement the methods on menu item click and click OK. Now here we have the method on menu item click method. Okay, and finally you need to register this pop-up menu, this interface on menu item click listener with our pop-up menu. So we have to register this pop-up menu with the on menu item click interface. So pop-up menu dot set on menu item click listener. Yeah, you need an object of that class here. The class name is pop-up menu event handle. Pop-up menu event handle. I name the object as pop-up menu event handle equal to new pop-up menu event handle, and you need to pass that object. Okay, now we have to handle the click events inside this method on menu item click method. So for displaying a toast, we need some context object here. So here I am going to create an object of context. So we need a constructor for this class. So public pop-up menu event handle, and that contain some context object. Name it as context. Okay, so now in this constructor we have to initialize the context object. So this dot context equal to context. Okay, now we have to handle the click events. So whenever user select an item on the pop-up menu, if user select the login as administrator, we have to display some message. So first we have to check which item is actually selected by the user. So you can find out which item is selected by the user from this argument menu item object. So item dot get item id equal to r dot id dot id admin. We have to display some message, pass the context object, login as admin, make the toast into long, and finally make the toast visible using show method. Okay, and return true. One more case is there, so else if item dot get item id equal to r dot id dot id user. We have to display same toast, login as user, login as user. Now go back to main activity. So we have to pass some context object with the constructor. So here I use the get application context. Okay, now we can check the project. So test the application again. Okay, now I select the button. First I select login as admin. Now here is the toast, login as admin. Now I select login as user. Now here it is, login as user. So this is how we use a pop-up menu in Android. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. See you in the next episode.